A very good morning, wherever you're waking up. This is Sky News Sunrise. Plenty more from New York with Sarah Jane shortly. But first of all, let's take a look at some of the other stories making news today. And an official review into the killing of teacher Ann Maguire by a 15-year-old pupil has concluded that no one could have predicted or preempted the murder. Katie Spencer is here with me now, and this was just the most awful of crimes, wasn't it? Talk us through what happened. Yeah,
it really was a shocking case. Ann Maguire was killed in front of a class full of her pupils in 2014 at the school she taught Spanish at in Leeds. She was killed by a 15-year-old boy, then at the time 15-year-old boy, Will Cornick, who she was teaching. He was later jailed for life for her murder. And what this review has been commissioned for is basically to look to see whether or not there were any warning signs, whether there was anything that was missed which could have been carried out to prevent Ann Maguire's death. It details the build-up towards Ann Maguire's death, and it says that on a couple of occasions, actually Will Cornick had messaged friends on social media discussing the fact that he wanted to kill Ann Maguire. Crucially, though, what this does say, though, is that his parents weren't aware of this, other teachers weren't aware of this, and there were no agencies that were aware of this. His friends merely thought this was his dark sense of humour and dismissed this. This review was carried out by a man called Nick Page. He actually had access to Will Cornick, and he said that Will described being in a red mist and the fact that he wasn't conscious of his surroundings at the time. The conclusions that this review makes, though, is that there were no credible warning signs, behaviours or antecedent behaviours that could or should have been picked up by agencies or professionals leading up to the murder. It goes on to say this was a unique event, and there are no recommendations I can make which in hindsight could have assisted staff in predicting or preventing the murder of Ann Maguire by Will Cornick or in preventing a similar event in the future. Subsequently, there was a psychiatric assessment of Will Cornick, and it has been suggested that he was suffering from an adjustment disorder, but that wasn't evident to anyone who was around him at the time. The one thing that this does recommend, this report, though, is perhaps that we need better understanding at a national level of finding ways to encourage young people to talk to adults if they do have any concerns about their friends.
Yeah, of course. And by all accounts, Ann Maguire sounds like a remarkable teacher herself. But Katie, thank you very much for updating.